Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Discussion Topics. And today, the topic is going to be tips for mechanics. So last episode, guys, we did tips for customer. So this time, we're going to do tips for mechanics. And again, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I might miss, a lot more tips that I could give, but because I don't want to make this video too long, we're only going to stick with a few. I really didn't put a lot of thought into this. I just kind of, whatever came off the top of my head, that's what we're going to discuss about today. I think that's going to make it more interesting so that I don't have time to think about it and stuff. And again, this is based off my perspective, my personal perspective, along with my experience being on both sides of being a mechanic and being a customer. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this video. Let's just go ahead and jump into this video, this discussion topic, guys. So the first topic, or the first point, and this is in no particular order, the first point is going to be communication and updating your customer. So guys, this might sound like super obvious, but you won't believe how many times that it might just slip your mind, or you might be too busy. Now, this is obviously not going to affect those that have service writers or those that have a middleman in between the customer and the mechanic. Now, in my case, I own and operate my own mobile mechanic business, so I am all those things. I wear all those hats, so I'm not only the mechanic, but service writer and so on and so forth. So I have to communicate with my customer. So for those that have to communicate with the customer directly, maybe this will help. Maybe you have some ideas. Maybe it won't work for you, or you have other methods of doing it. But basically, it's just communicate and update your customer. And what does that mean? It just means communicating what you find, or what the process is, or what the process might be for whatever the issue is. And updating that customer within certain time frames. Now, I know this might get hard because I'm guilty of it too. You start digging into the car, especially if it's like a diag, or there's a lot of stuff wrong. You got multiple things wrong and the customer wants to take care of all of it. You start just getting into it, working on it, getting things done. But it's always good, and it's always a good idea to just kind of stop, call, or text your customer and let them know, hey, A, B, and C is done. I'm working on D right now. This gave me a little bit of a problem. Whatever the case may be. Because I guarantee you guys, from being a customer, that is probably one of the best things that you can do as a mechanic or as a shop, is to update your customer on either the process or what you have found, or if you haven't found it yet, just to call an update. Even as simple, hey, so and so, we're still working on your car. We did A, B, and C. We're gonna try D, but we still haven't found the problem yet. But if you can be patient, just give us a little bit longer, guys. You will not believe how much that will help. Not only the reputation of you as a mechanic or your shop, but as well as ease the customer's mind, knowing that, hey, you know what? They're not just ripping me off and just trying to whatever the customer might think. Before, in my mind, I would think, hey, they just forgot about me, or they're just over there having a good time and eating pizza or chilling with their buddies. That's what I thought as a customer, on the customer side of it. So being on the mechanic side, we obviously know that that's not the case, but it's always good to try to help your customer understand, basically. So updating them if you guys find something, or if you don't find something, just update the customer. I think pretty much nailed that one already. So it's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to go on to the next one, the next bullet point. And that's just be honest. Be honest and take responsibility. So this is another thing that you will not believe how much of an impact you will have, a positive impact on your customer if you just be honest and take responsibility. That also might sound like a really easy one that's like, hey, that's obvious, you should be doing that. But a lot of times we don't. Is it because we're really trying to be dishonest, or is it because we don't want to upset the customer, or is it because we still want that customer's business? Whatever the case may be, trust me, being on the customer side of it, I would rather have somebody come up to me and be honest with me straight out the gate and let me know what's going on, because I will respect them and that shop a lot more. So being honest, what do we mean by being honest? Being honest and take responsibility. That means if you guys damage something or you break something, be upfront about it. If you work for a shop, let the manager know, be upfront about it. The shop, or you as an individual, if you're like me, you're an individual owner operator, you're going to have insurance. It will take care of it. That's what insurance is for. And sometimes it might be a part where you might have to eat it and it come out of your pocket. But that's being honest and that's taking responsibility. This has happened to me. And I tell you one thing, as a customer, I would want this done to me. So when I started my business, this is what I do. And it really, really makes a positive impact on the customer. So one time I was working on a vehicle, and I had to take the dipstick tube out of the transmission, and I failed to properly block it off. I had it blocked off, but somehow what I had blocking it off got loose, and I had spilt some coolant from the upper radiator hose, and I cannot confirm if coolant got into the transmission fluid. And this was a CVT transmission. So, what do you do in that situation? You got two options. I guess you got about two options. One, you don't do anything. You just put it back and let the customer go. It could be perfectly fine, nothing happened, or you could blow the transmission. Or two, you take responsibility and you be honest and you let that customer know what happened. So in my case, I had to eat it. I let the customer know, hey, I possibly contaminated your transmission fluid. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of it for you. So I went up, bought brand new CVT transmission fluid. You guys may or may not know that's a lot more expensive than regular transmission fluid. Purchased the transmission fluid. I did a free fluid flush on the transmission, and we had no issues. I'm not even for sure if coolant got in there, but I was not going to take the chance, because I would rather be honest, take responsibility, let that customer know I messed up, as well as I would rather replace transmission fluid than a whole transmission. And I would rather keep a customer than lose a customer over a situation like that. So that's kind of being honest and taking responsibility. It don't even have to be something like that. It could just be as it's kind of another topic that we have, or another bullet point that we have on there, but being honest as in the sense of, if you know your limitations, if you cannot do something, if you know you cannot do a job, don't take that job. For instance, if you know you can't do diagnostics, or you don't have the ability to do diagnostics, you don't have a OEM level scan tool or a high-end scan tool to do diagnostics, or a diagnostic equipment, don't say that you can do a diagnosis on a person's vehicle. Don't even attempt to. Don't charge for it. If you do not have the equipment or ability, like in my instance, I'm a mobile mechanic. If you don't have the ability to do transmission swaps, don't do them. Don't say, yes, I can do them, and you do them. You don't have the proper equipment, and you're not going to be doing that in the street. Stuff like that's being honest and taking responsibility. Which, I guess we'll roll that into our next bullet point, which is basically knowing your limitations and admitting defeat. And I know a lot of mechanics don't want to admit this or acknowledge this, but this is a big fact, guys. Admitting defeat. If you do diag or even something else, let's say you're taking a transmission out. Let's get away from diagnostics. Let's say you're taking the transmission out and you're just way over your head. You have no idea what you're doing. And you just can't get it for whatever reason. You just can't get to some of the fasteners. You just don't have the proper tools to do it, or you just don't have the means to do it or the knowledge. Admit it to yourself, and instead of going farther and getting yourself farther in trouble where you might break something or make it worse, just stop what you're doing, call up the customer, let them know you just can't do it. They might be a little upset at you because you started the work, but in the end, it's going to be a lot easier on you as well as the customer. And then again, knowing your limitations, what you can and can't do. If you have a good idea that you can't do something, don't even take the job, guys. I have turned down quite a bit of jobs because they were big jobs that I just was not going to take on. Trying to be a mobile mechanic, which is engine swaps, transmission swaps, timing chains, stuff like that. Sometimes I will take big jobs, but for the most part, I don't do, especially transmission and engine swaps, I just don't do. And that goes back up to being honest and taking responsibility. Those two kind of go hand in hand. So hopefully that makes sense, because I know as a customer, I wouldn't want a mechanic to tell me that they could do the job and they ultimately can't. Now sometimes that is going to happen. It's just a fact that, you know, it's something that you can do, but for whatever reason on this particular vehicle, it just got you, you know, it won. And you're just going to have to admit defeat. And that's where you might have a policy in place where you don't charge, or you charge half, or however you want to handle that situation. That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, guys, so next, I guess we'll move on to our last topic. I'm trying not to make this too long, but I'm trying to also hit some points. And hopefully I'm explaining myself very well. I feel like I'm just kind of rambling on, but hopefully you guys are understanding exactly what I'm saying. So, the next one, and this is a big one for me, is the upselling. So this one is a big topic in the automotive world. Upselling. So upselling is basically, for instance, this is tips for mechanics. So all the mechanics out there should know, but I'm pretty sure non-mechanics are going to watch this. But upselling is basically, if you come in for an oil change and you get the oil change done, but then we say, oh, well, your tires need to be changed, your transmission's due for a fluid flush, and your brakes are bad. That's basically upselling. So Upselling. So this is kind of a touchy subject. I believe in upselling only when it's absolutely necessary. So the way I usually handle this is, a lot of times when a customer wants me to do something, I will just do it. While I'm doing it, I will be looking at stuff. Sometimes I notice things and I will let the customer know what's going on or what should be done or what needs to be done. Or if I see something out of the ordinary, I'll look into it a little bit farther. But for me, it's not about making the extra money on the upsell. For me, it's more about keeping a customer. So the way I see it is, for instance, you get a customer comes in and you upsell them stuff that may or may not need to be done on their vehicle. And they say, yeah, sure, they only expected to do an oil change, but you sold them $1,000 worth of stuff. Okay, so how much did you make? Yeah, you made, what, $900. Let's just say $900. You made $900. But that customer is probably not going to come back to you anymore. They went in for a simple oil change, and they came out with $1,000 worth of repairs that they said that was told to them that was needed. So from a customer's point of view, being a customer, I personally would not go back. I go in for an oil change. Nothing's really wrong with my car. I just want an oil change, and then all of a sudden, $1,000 worth of stuff. So I've been on that end of it. I wouldn't come back, and I'm pretty sure you might not get that customer coming back. And then, yes, you made $900 at one time, but now you lost a customer. For me, I like to just do what the customer wants. Now, if I find stuff that's really wrong, I usually take a picture of it, send it to the customer, and say, hey, this needs to be taken care of, or this needs to be taken care of soon, and I let them decide. I don't try to give them a scare tactic or pressure them into getting something done unless it is a safety issue. And usually the only times that I've had a safety issue that I could not do myself obviously was like tires. There's been some times where our customers had really bad tires to where the metal is showing. So I have to call them and let them know of that they need to get tires done. Other stuff, it is what it is. I'll tell them you got fluid leaking. I'll take a picture, show it to them, and let them know. Or I'll ask them, have you noticed any fluid dripping on the floor where your car's parked? A lot of times they say no, and I say, okay, well, just be on the lookout because it looks like you got a leak. But anyway, guys, upselling can be good, but it also can be bad. So I guess what I'm trying to get at, guys, is only upsell when it's absolutely necessary. Don't be upselling just to try to make money. Obviously, that's unethical, it's unprofessional, and it's just giving mechanics everywhere a bad name. It's just unprofessional, guys. Upsell when it's absolutely necessary. Don't try to upsell just to make money. And if you are going to upsell something, make sure that it needs to be done. That's another big thing is don't upsell something that does not need to be done. For instance, if a customer comes in for an oil change and their vehicle looks pretty good and you're wanting to try to make some extra money off that customer, and you just tell the customer, oh, well, you're due for spark plugs, even though they are not due for spark plugs, or if they are due for spark plugs and they haven't had any issues, you're pressing it like, oh, if you don't get it done, your car is going to give out on you, your car is going to do this, it's going to leave you stranded. That kind of stuff we don't need, guys. If there's no need to change the spark plugs, don't try to upsell it. there's just no point for it. Now, yes, per the manufacturer, if it does need to be changed at a certain interval and that vehicle is past that interval, you can recommend, hey, ma'am, sir, you are due for spark plugs. If you want to take care of it, we could take care of it today or whenever you have time. But don't try to scare or press an upsell on a customer. It's unprofessional, it's unethical, and it's just bad. It gives the mechanics a bad name. So just don't do it, guys. So anyway, guys, there is our tips for mechanics. Hopefully this was understandable. I feel like I'm just rambling on about stuff. This is not scripted at all. It's just all coming out as it is, and hopefully it's understandable. It makes sense, and yeah, guys, I don't know what else to say. Just weird sitting here talking basically to myself. So anyway, guys, hopefully you agree with some of these bullet points, or if you disagree, that's fine. If you got anything to add, put it in the comment section below. I would really like to hear your viewpoints on it. And if you guys are liking these discussion videos, make sure to go down there and hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. It's going to show me that you guys are enjoying these discussion topic videos. It's kind of fun to make, but again, I feel like I'm rambling on sometimes. So, but anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and end this there. I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing me talking by now. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you guys would like to be notified when I put out another video, make sure to hit that bell notification. And as always, guys, please subscribe to my channel for more informational videos and DIY projects. And as always, guys, until next time, have a good one.